reporting on the games you love by people who love to game. The MMO Reporter Network.
Today's podcast is sponsored by Doghouse Systems. Choose your weapon with Doghouse Systems. Custom-built PCs delivered to your door with amazing quality, great options, and outstanding service. When you want a desktop or a laptop that will be the envy of your guild, kinship, or corporation, then our friends at Doghouse Systems are where you want to go. If you're looking for a new PC, then check out doghousesystems.com and use the coupon code MMOReporter to double your RAM.
Hello, everyone. It's Friday. Today is May 2nd, and thank you for joining ESO Reporter Podcast, Greenland's #1 transatlantic source of information on the Elder Scrolls Online. And joining me today, as always, is Teppo, the chap of Synapse. How are you, Teppo?
Yeah, I'm pretty good. I'm tired, but I'm good. It's been a long week.
A lot of things going on in your life.
A lot of things, work, training, exams, training of a different kind. Yeah, I've had hardly any time for ESO this week.
Yeah, but all good stuff, though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, good. And also with me today is Jenara. Go Gadget Jen. Sorry, Jen. We got a tagline.
That's fine.
Go Gadget Jen.
How are you, Jen?
I'm okay. How are you, Mr. Sven, with two V's?
I'm great, thank you. I'm busy too. Really busy, actually. A lot of things going on in life. But and we apologize, by the way, first of all, for not getting a podcast out last week. But like Jen said out in Facebook, real life happens.
Yeah, it does. When it beckons, we have to go with it, unfortunately.
Sven, you're already doing a better job than we do on Musketeers, because even if we do remember to apologize for not putting an episode out before, we usually don't remember until about 2/3 of the way through the episode that we're recording.
It is true. We tend
by the way, sorry, we didn't hit last week.
We tend to apologize to everyone we've, insulted midway through the podcast, just to make sure they're listening throughout the entire thing.
Yeah.
Well, I have had a chance, unlike you, Teppo, I have had a chance to play just about every night, but not for very long. It's difficult for me to get much more than a couple hours, hour and a half.
God, you're so hooked.
I like the game. I do. I mean, not everything's, perfect and, roses, but overall I have fun. And, of course, I have people online that I enjoy spending time with as well, so it makes it, even more fun. And I just want to mention before we get too much further, thank you for those that jumped in our guild already. We haven't had a lot of activity in the bank or anything, the guild bank, but it'd been nice just to chat a little bit with the new members.
Yeah, and we're sorry if we ignore you. It's not because we mean to. It's just because normally we're in the middle of doing something heroic.
Yeah.
So,
It's not ignoring.
It's not ignoring.
No.
It's just sometimes I've noticed that people have asked questions and I've not responded. Gone, oh, hello, how are you? Sorry.
I'll usually keep up a sort of a live heartbeat kind of tick of random animal noises in guild chat.
Yeah, you're very good at that, actually.
So that, I'm there. I will respond as soon as I finish getting my face pummeled in by whatever we're fighting at the moment.
He's far better than I am at doing that, actually.
Well,
I do it in life as well. I'm not sure what to say. I just go moo.
Moo.
I am still listening. Please continue.
Yay.
Well, and I think the hardest thing about it, I don't know if you guys have joined a trade guild or not, but when you have multiple guilds and you have multiple chats going on for those guilds, it's tough to always be able to, immediately address each one. So, but anyway, we try, and we'll definitely continue to try. And, usually when I'm on, Jen and Tep won't be, just depending upon life and stuff. So you might not catch us all, but when we're on, we're more than willing to talk to you a little bit on chat, and if you want to group with us and you're close to the level, I know for myself I'd be happy to, but I think most of you, the people that have joined us, aren't in Daggerfall. I think they're in Aldemary, like our Sven and the other characters are over in Aldemary Dominion.
It's a problem. It's almost a shame because we barely have gotten a chance to be on those characters recently, haven't we?
Yeah, that's my fault. I know I've had difficult,
Oh, don't
but
blame yourself.
yeah,
It's
stuff happens. Well,
fine.
I don't know who else to blame. I was the one that wasn't, I think, last week, so I
All right, we'll
apologize.
blame you for everything.
There you go.
The
Okay.
weather and actually, the one thing I need to do with the guild chat is I need to change the color because every time a guild,
Ah,
like guild 1, 2, 3, or 4 comes up, it's obviously all in green.
all
So
in
I need to
green.
make sure that I
Pink.
differentiate. Pink, yes, pink and purple and
That's the first color I go for when I'm looking to change the color of a chat. I change the first one to pink.
because then you go, oh my god, it's pink,
No, it's just highly visible
yeah,
against everything else.
and it's so garish.
Well, it depends what kind of pink you choose.
Ugh, no.
So you guys have worked through about the same point I have in game in on the Daggerfall Covenant. Any highlights at all that you've run into this past week that you worth mentioning?
That point being approximately Rivenspire, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
Just started in Rivenspire, so that's after what was that zone called?
Stone, no, not Stone Falls. I always want to say
No.
Stone Falls.
The one with freaking Wayrest in it.
Yep, that's good enough.
Anyway, that'll do. That'll do. Yeah. No
So,
major issues.
Actually,
dungeons?
the guys have been very supportive of me because some reason I tend to forget like one
Anything in
sky
front of
shard. So they've I don't know what
Capitalizing your
happened.
last name?
Yeah,
We can genuinely lead Go Gadget Jen up to the water sometimes with a big white arrow above said water, and still she will
where's
not
the
drink.
water?
Which is
Yeah,
hilarious.
so
It's the
bad.
whole. It's like walking and chewing gum. Talking in quest objectives. It's tricky business.
It is. I don't know. Yeah, gosh, I think my brain is slowly coming out of my ears. But
Well, this is what I like about the clues for sky shards in the journal. And I'm sure everyone knows by now, but if you go to your journal and you go to the achievements panel and you look at the sky shards and you find your zone, it gives you sort of not terribly cryptic, pretty good clues, but not straight up. This is where it is of where all the sky shards are,
they're
and
cute.
they've been good for working out which ones you missed and where to go. And so, particularly once you've been around a zone, you kind of know what they're mentioning.
Yeah.
That's what it is, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's one thing I will mention, which I meant to do last week, but because all of Sven's fault, we couldn't do a podcast. Is that Tepper found an awesome achievement. Didn't you, Tep?
Oh, yeah.
It was awesome. And found like just by chance.
Yeah, I did my usual thing, which is commit glorious suicide off the highest thing I could find, which just happened to be, was it the giant's head? It's like this big statue that's fallen on its side.
Awesome.
But if you happen to run right off the point of its nose, no point running off the bridge of his nose, you have to run right off the longest part of the nose and jump to your ultimate demise, you'll get an achievement.
Yeah.
It's only like a 5-point achievement or something, but it's part of the explosion of the zone.
It's awesome. It's like nosedive or something, isn't it? I think.
Yeah, I think that's what it's called. It was quite amusing because we're all up there and we thought, hey, that's probably going to kill us, but it is the quickest way down. So we self and solo jumped off to no avail, and I hopped on my horse, backed up for a run up, went straight off just a couple of steps to the right of you, and got the achievement.
That's awesome.
So,
I had no idea
note to all our listeners is just jump off of loads of crap and see what happens.
I do. Hey, I'm top of the tower.
The other thing that's kind of fun, if you have your game volume on, which some of us do and some of us don't, but I was playing in PvP, and there was a cliff, and everybody was running together because we were trying to bring one of the Elder Scrolls back to our keeps. And I jumped off first and lived, just barely, but I listened as 100 people behind me jumped off, and each one of them screamed. It was great.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it was pretty funny.
Is it
Sorry.
the Wilhelm scream, or is it just the scream?
I don't know. It just seemed like a scream, but it was women, men, all different volumes and types, and it was pretty funny. But I didn't get an achievement for that, unfortunately.
Not that, whatever it is.
I think that's kind of what it was. I'm not sure. Well, good. No, so there was some good things happening in game for me, and sounds like for you guys too. But a lot of changes, a lot of updates that we'll have in the news shortly. But I also, before we hit that, I don't know if we want to touch on some of the patch stuff that's come out. Teppo, do you have anything patch-wise?
No.
No. Okay. All right.
I have had zero time to play this week, so I hadn't even looked at the patch notes.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I'm sorry. There's that bald going straight past my butterfingers right there.
I should have probably mentioned it pre-podcast. I apologize.
That could have gone in the notes. Oh wait, patches. Yeah, I suppose.
Yeah. Oh well.
I thought you meant the aircraft.
I thought it was like your pet dog or something.
No, and above their intro, it's for
Patches.
iPad. Sorry. So there have been patches. You can say that.
They've gone in the same tradition. I think there was. I'll get my words out straight. The Tuesday maintenance took a long time for the EU mega server. Okay. I know that much. It seriously went on way longer than it should have.
Yeah.
It was like 4 hours or something, wasn't it? Like
it was. I don't know exactly how much time it was, but it was way longer than it was supposed to be, and something was up there. But other than that, I honestly don't know. I think they're still kind of in bug fix mode.
Mm.
I mean, we'll talk about their
path ahead,
sort of their content cycle, right? Their content cycle later, but they're not at that point yet.
Cool.
Yeah,
cool.
And I think in the articles that follow, a couple of the articles actually have those patch updates. So when we look at the articles, we can mention some of those things as well.
Sounds good.
Awesome sauce.
All right, so we'll take a break and be back shortly for news. Okay, to start off our news section, we got some an update, I think, yesterday or the day before, I don't recall. But anyway, some news on Matt Firer, the big dog at ZeniMax Online, announced
Would you say it's Firer or
it is Firer.
Or
Firer. I thought it was Führer, but it's Firer.
Führer.
Firer.
Don't call him the Führer.
Sorry, it's all these things in German, you know. Mine's wide dries.
I wonder if his employees call him Mein Führer or not.
No,
sorry.
No.
So anyway, Firer.
Don't joke about the war in the Europe, I'm afraid, Sven. Because we won it, and that's all that matters.
Moving along.
So anywho, he announced that we're all going to get anyone who signed up for subscription as of yesterday. So if you're listening to this podcast, I apologize. You're too late if you haven't subscribed. But you're going.
Yesterday being May the 1st.
Pardon me?
Yesterday being what, May the 1st?
Yeah.
Just bear in mind, by the time people listen to this, it'll be May the 7th.
Yeah, 7th. Yeah. Well, anyway, you'll know you have 5 extra days of game time.
When you've been subscribed.
Yep.
Yeah, and you think about it, when this podcast airs, I mean, their 5 free days will be up.
I know. But anyway, maybe not. Maybe Chris will get it up sooner. I mean, who knows? But so 5 days of free game time. So I don't know. I'm not sure what to think about that, whether it was really needed or not, and if it was enough, if it was needed. There was a lot of time. I know you guys had some complaints on the EU server that you wanted to play, not a lot, but a handful, and you couldn't because of patches and that kind of thing.
I would love to be playing you guys clips of a couple of our previous episodes when we were all saying, they should really give us some free days for the
I did say that.
Yeah, we all said that.
We all said that.
And now they have.
So they did.
Yes, so they listened and they gave us what we wanted.
Thank you.
I wanted
more
3 months, Capo.
I don't
know.
No,
then you'll get like those people like, I don't know, Veteran 99.
People already it only goes up to 10 or 5 for a start. I can't remember what the highest veteran level is.
I think it's 10, isn't it? I've seen a Veteran 9.
But yeah, people are already up there.
Mm-hmm. Well, good.
Some bots are already up there.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
How do you get a bot? Yeah, we'll talk about that later. But yeah, I think the 5 free days is good. I think they needed to do that, to be honest.
It's a good. I think it's a good gesture.
Yeah.
Considering so. Okay, so also we had the road ahead, which was part of Matt Firer's letter to the community, if you want to call it that.
Again. Sorry.
Yeah, explaining future updates. And quite a list, I thought. Mentioned Craig Lorne and the trials, which of course we're not nowhere near yet. But if one of our listeners we're interested in finding out what, because I think has it opened yet? I feel terrible.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it?
I think so. Pretty sure
I
it is.
don't think it is.
Is it not?
Oh, you know what? The test
They've
server
had a
did.
content-
The test server did.
on the test server.
Test server, yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm not subscribed to it. Not in it.
Yeah, the test server is. Sorry, I'm not either. But so I do know that that's out. But if you are and you can talk about it, if there's not an NDA on it, yeah, please, we're interested in that.
Yeah, drop us an email or something like that, or a message leave a comment on the website, or a message over Facebook or something. We'd love to hear what your thoughts and opinions are.
Say hello.
So
Yeah, and that.
Yeah. So we've got the list here, and I'm just going to kind of read them off, and then we can talk about them as I read them, I guess. A system that allows group players to see each other even when they're in different phases.
Oh, this is what is upcoming,
Yep.
potentially. Yes. Okay.
Yep.
Not what's happening at the moment. Yeah.
Yep. So the group players will see each other even if they're in different phases, instead of just seeing the chevron. I don't know if that's that. Can you tell me why that would be that important?
What was the thing that's supposed to be important?
A system that allows group players to see each other even when they're in different phases. So you won't be able to play anything together. You'll just be able to see each other. That's cosmetic. Does it matter much?
That's an interesting one, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, if we can see them, can we technically do quests with them and stuff is the question.
If we see them and they fall in the woods, do they make a sound?
Can we scream when they jump off of a cliff?
Yeah, that's
a weird one.
You see, I would have thought the easiest solution would be to jam the rest of the team into the player with the least full phase.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no. This isn't just about... This is when they're in different parts of the quest as well.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay, that makes sense.
This must be, because if they're talking about phases in general, it can't just be... They're in different instances of the of the overall world, like the hidden sorts, Stonefalls 1 through 20.
Right.
It's also supposed to be when people disappear because they've completed a quest line, but their friend hasn't, perhaps.
Yep.
That makes sense.
I hope that's what they're talking about.
Me too.
Because that's frustrating.
I'm just hitting a bullet point on on an article here, so it may be more in depth on Matt's full article. Apologize, I can go to that too. But so that was one of them. Next one was a justice system.
That's pretty cool. I like that.
Yeah, steal from and kill NPCs and deal with the consequences if you are caught. So that's similar to the single player game. That's all they're doing, right?
Well, I assume so. It would be great if you have to arrest a player.
But how am I supposed to get cooking ingredients?
This is the thing.
I can't rob people blind.
Is it going to result in the problem there where all the NPCs in town are dead? Surely they'll just have specific NPCs that you can kill, otherwise that could get really awkward.
I have some anger with this because they've made it's difficult to get ingredients for cooking unless you have the most generous guild alive, which I do, who just throw all their crafting components for cooking and brewing and all the recipes in the guild bank for me. Also, they've made a huge thing out of looting every single book barrel, box and sack in the entire game, people's houses, because there's some really rare drops in there, like motifs, for instance.
Yep.
That would be problematic.
Mm-hmm.
There must be something specific. I hope they're doing something intelligent there, or you're just going to have to murder NPCs.
It might just be that they're going to add something in so you actually can pickpocket from NPCs rather than just steal from all their houses.
That'd be good.
That would be pretty cool if they did that. I don't know how that works.
Pickpocket them, cast calm on them, then walk away.
Yeah, exactly. So let's see you do that often in Skyrim.
Skyrim. It was after Van Hemlock was talking about he's doing some kind of illusionist kind of build, where he would try and sneak up to people using lots of illusion spells to help his sneaking in Skyrim. And then, even if they spotted them, cast calm on them, get behind them, backstab them. If they survive that, cast frenzy or something on them and have them attack the rest of the people around.
That's awesome.
That's Skyrim.
Skyrim. Good game.
Yes, but back to ESO.
Yeah.
Well,
So migration of European mega server to our European data center.
we all knew that was going to happen at some point anyway, once they find out the kinks.
And it's going to happen. That's good,
Yep.
yeah.
Field of view adjustment.
This is fairly important because there's always been a difference in the field of view between PC and consoles.
Yes.
I can't remember, is it 60-75 or 75-90? I can't remember. I think it's 60-75. But that does make, that will make an unconscious, a subconscious difference to PC players. I hadn't clocked on that was part of the issue with going first player for me, but I had them mentioning that makes sense. I find it much too restricting in first person in the ESO at the moment.
I do as well, actually.
Okay.
Find it really
I got what you're saying. So the sides, the far sides, the peripheral.
Yeah, the field of view would be a lot better.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I think they're looking to, at least, I don't know how far, probably only go out to about 75 or 80 or something, but I think because it will be locked down to the smaller setting for consoles, I would assume. I think.
It'll still make a difference, though.
Yeah, it makes a huge difference. I mean, in first-person shooters, it makes an incredible difference. I mean, changing your FOV makes a huge difference to how accurate I am in PlanetSide 2, for instance.
Ah, good.
Because you have more or less screen to scroll across, depending on on how much FOV.
Well, PvP especially too, man. I could tell you that would be a big difference if you had more.
You don't need to worry about the field of view in PvP. You just go a vampire bat swarmer. You don't need to see it.
Yeah,
No.
that's pretty crazy, isn't it?
I heard you talk about it, but I have not.
You haven't seen it. That's probably.
I will dig out a video that demonstrates it and put it in the show notes.
Perfect. I'd be interested to see.
Because I know one of the things they will be focusing on in the future are the overpowered. I think it says so in here about the vampires and how they're going to try to change them so they actually can't just level massive amounts of players on the battlefield in the PvP. I think that's one of their plans.
Next item on the bullets is armor dyeing and tinting. I know you guys have talked about this quite a bit. I think that's good. I mean, there's really not much else to say, is there?
No, I think it's all right. I think armor dyeing, though, I really won't. I think they need more clothes in the game, and then I think dyeing, like cosmetic clothes. I think the dyeing would be that's what I meant, because I know they've got plenty of clothing. And then I think that's where the dyeing would be really good. I'm not so sure that I want to see like people running around with pink armor.
Yeah, this was what I was going to say.
Like,
light armor, fine. I don't want to see pink metal.
Yeah, I'm not
I
so
don't
keen
either.
on that.
I'm presuming they're going to talk about it'll be metallic trims that we'll be doing, because even at lower levels, between sort of level 8 and level 10, heavy armor in certain races, you can clearly see like a gold trim or a silver trim on things, and maybe they'll be sensible about it and like metallic colors for metallic things, and more sort of organic colors for cloth and whatever.
Good. Yeah, I agree.
Nice.
Yeah, 2 new veteran dungeons, Crypt of Hearts and City of Ash. Don't know much about that, but it sounds
Yay.
good.
New content.
Hey, it's fair enough.
New region of Craiglorn with a new trial. We already kind of mentioned that last episode.
The Serpent.
Yep.
That's my nickname in high school.
Was it? Why is that? Because you're venomous.
Yeah, there you go.
I just
Or did
wiggle
you have
around
a
the
list?
corridor and hiss at
I
people.
was going to say you're the venomous.
I wrap myself around them and constrict them.
Oh, boy.
Because I
Continuing.
tried to eat an entire crocodile and spit open.
You tried to eat all the people you came across. I don't know.
Well,
I don't know.
Okay.
skill up.
Boa constrictor. Sorry.
Moving on.
Sven's
Increased
moving
no worries. Increased ability to pick up items in the world.
What?
What kind of
Yeah.
items is this? Can we pick? Is it going to help us pick up trees or
think-
goats? Or...
I think they mean like plates and things, maybe.
Why? Like we have. I mean, we're already getting. My bags
don't
are.
need- No, we don't need any more junk to put in our bags.
My bags are so stretched they just drag across the floor.
You could just see
You're like
him.
an 8-year-old.
You could just see him dragging his bag out of buildings after he's been. It's
hunched over. I just leave a trail behind me wherever I go.
So this is the coolest one, I think, and we'll maybe touch on a little bit later here. Thieves Guild and Dark Brotherhood storyline and quests.
I think that'll be cool as long as they add a skill line for them.
Oh, they will.
Well, why wouldn't they?
Yeah, well, this
Yeah.
is the thing. I'm sure they will, but let's hope, because it's not quite clear about that when it says storylines and quests. So let's hope. That'd be awesome.
Yeah. Spell crafting. Yeah,
Yeah, what do you guys think of this? What do you think that's going to be about?
could be
Doesn't
good.
make any sense considering their current class system.
Yeah, I
No,
didn't
right.
know
That's
how that's
true.
going to work.
Doesn't make any sense at all considering the current way they have spells and things set up in
Because,
classes.
like, in Morrowind, you could, like, really craft spells. Couldn't you? You could, like, craft levitate and fly spells and stuff.
At least from Morrowind, certainly. I don't know about Arena and Daggerfall. It's like only vaguely remember playing Daggerfall. But you learn Destruction School as a
Yeah.
general thing, and then you could like make a spell that does say fire in a 15-foot radius and an ice spell in like on like just point of hit or something like that, and make weird spells like that. That doesn't fit.
Yeah, I
at
don't
all.
know how they're going to do that. Unless they're planning on doing something weird with the crafts, with the skill systems. I don't know how they're going to pull that.
Yeah, maybe they're going to do something with jewelry, perhaps in that case.
That would be better.
Spells attached to rings and things like that. Maybe I don't know. I have sort of basic sort of procking things, perhaps. Don't know. Really don't know.
Horse racing, Lotro.
Yeah, I was just thinking that,
It's
actually.
in that game as well. I don't give a flying fudge muffin. Don't worry, I get it covered. I don't give a flying fudge muffin about stupid in-game events like that. I really don't give a damn.
I do want flying fudge muffins, though.
As you know, I think it'd be better
Maybe if you
though.
guys-
I have to say, I think it would be better with horse racing if you could play a bookie.
Bookie! Just went around breaking horses' legs as well.
Exactly.
Open a couple up and just...
Get particular jockeys as well. Oh, you can't wear that armor on that horse. It'll slow it down.
Oh, damn. Did I cast a snare across the first four horses?
Oh dear, were they caltrops? My bad. Sorry.
Is that my Storm Atronach wandering into the path?
Yeah, it's ridiculous. You guys probably got that from our comments, but yeah, it's pretty ridiculous.
Yeah, no.
Dragon Star Arena, similar to Trials but built for Group of 4. That's veteran content, probably,
That's
right?
pretty cool.
Yes.
Yeah, that'll be
Yeah.
fun.
So they've been talking about having harder content and having the trials be both stuff for 4-man groups and for 12-man groups.
Yeah.
So that's good.
What you need is mentoring if you're listening to this. Mentoring system.
Well, we're getting towards that system later on the list.
Yes, we are.
Improvements to fishing, which I have not yet done.
Well, I think it kind of makes sense, doesn't it? Because I think currently the only thing you can do with a fish is basically catch it and put it in your bag.
I think there's some achievements for catching certain rare fish in each of the zones or something.
Yeah, but it's just like a trophy, isn't it? It's like, where the hell am I going to put it?
It's a trophy item which has no purpose in the world.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I called it like a junk item and have it say, sell this for gold.
Wow.
Yeah, or you could do like what game was it? Was it Star Wars Galaxies where you would catch fit? No, it wasn't.
I know in
Lotro,
Lotro,
you had the trophies on your walls. That was pretty cool. We could do something like that if we got houses.
oh, there's not kinship house.
Yeah.
Along with a barrel with tentacles in it. That was weird. They would twitch.
That's awesome.
Crafting system improvements. I sure hope Alchemy gets something, because I can't even tell you how I find Alchemy.
Terrifies you, doesn't it?
There's an add-on that makes that a bit easier.
I bet.
But it shouldn't need an add-on. You're right.
No, it's... Ugh.
Alchemy has beaten Sven.
Actually, I think I was talking to Solo about this 2 or 3 weeks ago. So there's in mind, I think it's called the Alchemist add-on. What it does is it tells you based off whatever items you have in your inventory at the time. When you go to an alchemy crafting bench, it tells you what you can create on those and what you have created before. So and what you haven't. So you can discover new ones all the time instead of just faffing around and losing stuff. But what Solo was saying is he would just like to know what ones he's already created.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
and then
exactly.
he can discover for himself, which I
Yes.
don't think is an option out there at the moment.
So let me ask you guys something in terms of speed of the game, because I'm finding that in comparison with my time in the single-player games, I'm finding using potions much more cumbersome and difficult than it was time-wise than it did in the single. I didn't feel like I felt like I had more time in the single-player game because I could pause things, to go ahead and use potions than I can. And I'm really not using much for potions. Are you guys?
I only use them in the group dungeons.
Yeah, we tend to use them a lot in group dungeons.
And you just attach one of them to your Q key and just go from there? Or do you actually...
Usually health.
Okay, but just one, right? You're not using any of the others. You're just using the one on your queue, and that's it.
Well,
I put a number on my queue.
Weird situation. Yeah, I try and finish our groups with a regen for stamina and magic, or at least health and magic. So we don't have to worry too much about class abilities in terms of the economy of Magicka and things like that, or not as much we used to. But I don't rely on them so much. It's a problem. I certainly don't need them in Overland.
Yeah.
No. That's another thing about alchemy. I'm not finding other. I know you can, do other things, but it just doesn't seem like there's a lot of use to it right now.
No, I see your point. And to be honest, when you're talking about potions, I barely use. The only potions I tend to use are health potions, but I tend to get rid of my magic and stamina potions. I don't have no need for it, because when you have someone like Teppo in the group as well who's making provisioning items, I'll just get something that boosts my stamina or something that boosts my magic. I don't need a potion to do that, because I'm not feeling like I'm running out that fast.
Yeah.
So health is fine, but I've been selling all of my stamina and magicka potions. Maybe later on in the game it'll be a different story, but not currently.
Go ahead. Sorry, do you do potions once you go up in alchemy? Do they do things like give you increased power, increased disease resistance, stuff like that? That stuff's useful.
I think they do. Yeah.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
So before we got a few other items, but if anyone from ZeniMax is listening, Teppo talked about this last podcast or the one before. It's not for survivability, but if things get harder as we go along, it'd sure be nice to be able to eat and drink. So that'd be great.
Yeah.
Right now, I don't think, especially you guys, when you're running around as a group of 3, have you found any real challenge over land?
No.
No,
not at all.
Yeah. That's
no, so I think the only
problem we have is when we accidentally wandered into that public dungeon. It was a solo dungeon because we didn't look at it properly.
But our only real problem
was challenging until we tuned in.
Yeah, but our only real problem with that was also we just ran out of bag space.
Oh yeah, we really did.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've not been having any problems at all. Dungeons, yes, kind of. But then again, I guess it's how you work with your team as well. I mean, we've been gaming together for a long time, so we pretty much know how each other works, and we can read each other's moves.
I know that, but I don't even think you would need to be that type of group.
I don't know if you would,
Because it really, I wish, and I know, I'm not going to play to those heartstrings of those that miss City of Heroes, but I really enjoyed how that scaled to the group size, and I wish there was something like that. Because, unfortunately, things haven't got real challenging, even for me solo, guys.
Really?
Really. Honestly, I don't think I've... I took that ability early on where you can res without a soul shard every 2 hours. Just to add an extra skill point. I think I've used it twice, and that's pretty sad.
It uses it by default. I noticed this. If you're like me and you keep a stack of level appropriate soul shards, when you die, you don't get a choice to use that ability or a soul shard. You just have to use the thing if you're going to res rather.
Yeah.
Just before we wander too far away from it, the crafting system. The one thing I say against the allowing us to use a food and a drink is I've noticed as things level up in terms of their quality of the recipes, they don't just last longer, but they also add more abilities in.
Okay.
So green ones are just one thing. Blue ones tend to have 2. I haven't picked up a purple one, but I presume they have 3.
And then
they tend to be in the same vein, it seems. So if I've got a green one which is grilled venison or something, and it does max stamina, then the blue super duper grilled venison with extra cheese is going to be max stamina and max health, probably. And then I presume the purple one is also going to add the max magicka on, but I don't know. That's what I've noticed in my small foray into blue recipes.
Next bullet points. Our bullet point is on improved looking for group system. Okay. I mean, we have not had a lot of experience with that.
Yeah, I didn't use it.
We were planning to experiment with this on Wednesday, but we didn't get around to it.
Yeah.
That was our plan, wasn't it? Yeah.
Maybe listener feedback on that one for next week. Toss something in there, guys.
I think what we're planning on doing is getting into a group of 4, as we happen to have enough people at the right levels, and we enjoy playing with each other, and queuing up for a different alliances dungeon and see how that works.
Yep.
Because I've not done that. I didn't even think about trying it before, so it would be interesting.
Yeah, it'd be cool. See if that.
I've enjoyed the ones that we've been in that have been in our particular alliance. I do wonder though if that's gonna. I don't really know how the going to the other alliances after you finish with yours thing works. Is it the same quest but leveled up?
I think it is. Yeah.
The dungeons leveled up as well. I don't know.
Be interesting to experiment with.
Next year.
Yep.
When we get there, the next
Wednesday maybe.
Yeah.
Better NPC facial animations. Whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really care.
Do you guys not watch their mouths when they're talking?
Oh, yeah.
Not really.
They just track the way open like that.
Yeah, rah, 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 rah.
or Thunderbirds or something.
As long as they don't change the German-speaking
Oh, that was good.
spirits. Yeah, they're good.
Enjoyed that.
Guild functionality updates, guild store interface updates, customizable guild insignias, tabards, guild ranks, guild wars 2, and guild kiosks, guild
Wars
stores.
2? What?
It's just, that's what they're, I mean, basically, right? Most of this stuff is,
WoW do most of that first.
pardon me? WoW?
Didn't
Yeah.
WoW do a lot of that before Wars 2?
Yeah.
Certainly tabards and
Yeah.
Guild Insignia on the tabards.
Tabards and WoW were awesome. I mean, because we were in there in vanilla and we had a really awesome tabard, and obviously we still have that tabard because our guild's still moving thanks to one of our players who's like a mega WoW fan. But they were great, and you can't really duplicate looks of tabards. I do hope they do a similar thing to WoW because that was neat.
Did you ever use the Guild Wars 2 system?
No.
That was very good. Very, very good. We had a couple of unique guild insignia in there as well.
Ooh,
Guild
For the Cake and Taxes Guild.
that's awesome.
guild kiosks. Guild stores open to everyone that are available to the highest bidding guild. I don't understand this.
I don't understand
Yeah, I
that
don't
sentence,
understand that
but
sentence.
we knew about guild kiosks. I'm pretty sure it's been mentioned before.
Oh, it has.
Yeah.
All
I
right.
assume what this is going to I think this is probably eventually going to build. I mean, this is kind of what I'm thinking might happen. Is they might get like almost like a guild hall going at some point. So you can walk into your guild hall and you'll have a guild kiosk and those types of things. I mean, that's one of the only ways I can think of it working.
Auto.
Yeah.
Unless they stick it next to the bank, but then it'll be just a bit stupid.
Yeah.
But
More variety. I don't know. That's a good question.
I want it to be on a plane of Oblivion that we can customize.
awesome, wouldn't it? You're on Plane
right.
of Oblivion. This is a nice.
I want some kind of weird WildStar-esque housing thing to be guild housing in this game.
Auto leveling dungeons that level to your group leader. Okay.
Well, part of the way there with the whole
Halfway there,
Part.
yeah.
Yep.
level issue. I mean, it still requires your group to be the same level as each other.
Yeah.
But at least that means when we did a dungeon, I think it was the sewers, Mo West sewers, and we went in there and we were 2 levels above the minimum or 3 levels above the minimum. It was just a walk in a park.
It was so easy.
It was just not a problem before at all. I think only 1 or 2 people died, like once or twice.
Yeah, and that was primarily because I think that once Terrell died because he got too much aggro, and I died because of, I think, a similar thing, too much aggro or something. Oh, no, I think that the healer was too slow at healing. Not.
Oh, really? It was the healer's
I love
fault,
it.
was it?
I
No,
love
it
it.
wasn't. It was something. It was something.
I love it.
Yeah. But no, it was. Yeah, it was so easy, so simple, actually. Oh god.
Yeah. So if they can adjust it, even just inside the normal level range, that would be helpful, because they do get a little bit straightforward after a couple of levels.
I think the best fun we've had in it was when we did it at like 9. What was it we were doing? The earlier dungeons at 9th level.
Well, Spindle Clutch.
Spindle Clutch. We were like 2 levels below. That was great because it was a challenge. But once we got to the level of the dungeon, it was just like, wow, this is really not that challenging.
Awards when you repeat dungeons. I'm sorry.
No, this is good because
This is
they
good. Yeah.
buckaroo loot while you're doing it.
Yeah,
The only reward for doing a dungeon is the first reward
Yeah.
you get for completing it, which is usually a blue item. You don't get
Yeah.
And the loot is terrible in those
I'm
things.
just not big on repeatable content, guys. I really am not. I feel terrible about that, but I know the game
You
has.
should feel
You
terrible.
should feel
Yeah.
No, I think the one thing where it is really handy is, for instance, well, we had a couple of people because we ran through Spindle Clutch. There was a couple of other guild members who hadn't gone through it, so we took them
Yeah.
through. But what we noticed was that like the loot was becoming less and less and less the more we went through the dungeon. So in that
chests
instance,
and things.
yeah, this is the thing. In that instance, when you're taking other people through, it's nice to actually be able to get something from it, not just because otherwise you're just doing the same thing with no reward. Really, can be a bit.
They just give you a random loot box. You know, you open it, it gives you a blue item of a certain level range or of a range between 1 and 2 as your level. That's fine. If they start doing a thing where a dungeon has like a set of items or something, like have purple items that are 1% drop rate on each boss, which will give you a set of 5 of these things. Don't do that. Do not do that. It's horrible.
Yeah, please don't do that.
This horrendous tiering system, which you had, I'd say, in WoW, where every single time they want to rejig things, they say, oh no, you have to have another tier, and it has to be that much better, it makes the old stuff that much worse.
I have to say that was one thing that totally put me off of WoW. I must have run I can't remember what dungeon it was now, but one of the dungeons about 20, I kid you not, about 25 to 30 times, because we wanted everyone to go through and get every bit of armor, and it was just tedious.
That's brutal. That is brutal.
It was awful.
I won't play a game like that. I really won't.
It was like, that's what it was. It was Skullomance or something. We kept running because we wanted to get armor, and it was just, oh man. Yeah, please listen to Teppo. Please don't do that.
Yeah, listen to me.
I would say most companies would be wise to, frankly, but that's just my opinion. I tend to think people have pretty good ideas.
Over 20 years experience in computer gaming.
Yep.
since
He's
I
got
was old
20
enough
years.
to sit at a
Bless
keyboard.
him. Okay, bless him. I've got
Since about the age of 3, I've been
I've got
playing
about
computer
30 years, but let's not talk about that. Anyway,
You're old.
because I'm old. Well, think about Sven, you know.
Oh, think about me? Well, go ahead.
Exactly.
Bring it on. Bring it on.
I'm having a cup of tea. I'm just sitting there thinking, that's Sven.
I played on a 286 12 megahertz machine, so there you go.
Wow.
Oh yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, I've
With
just
a
had
20
Commodore
20
64 days.
megabyte hard drive. with a 2400 baud modem.
The first thing I ever played was an old Amstrad with 2 5-inch floppy disk drives in it. I was playing Text Adventures.
Cool. Awesome.
And later on Frogger as well.
That's awesome.
I don't know what specs were. I don't even know what model it was. But it was
first thing I played on was Atari, and then I got a Commodore 64.
Those were good. I liked Commodores, actually. Last item is the Imperial City PvP Dungeon, which I think is pretty cool.
That would be neat.
Dungeon.
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. Especially if they make the whole Imperial City like one massive dungeon. That would be fabulous.
Be interesting to see what they're going to do. That's obviously going to be the center point after PvP gets boring, I think, is have that be a big piece of expansion for PvP. Just a guess, though.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
I hope that PvP dungeon will be fab. I suspect it will be gated. And I got a horrible feeling it might be gated towards whoever's the currently winning alliance.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the Emperors.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense, actually, Temple, because Fire was with Dark Age, and they had that Darkness Falls zone, and Warhammer, I thought, was going to do so. Oh, what was that Araby area, desert area?
Yeah, the Egyptian-y, whatever that was. Yes, they had some gated stuff in there.
That would probably be what he'll do. You're right.
Yeah, that's really...
Wouldn't surprise me at all.
Good.
Okay, so move on to the next news article, I believe. We might just skip a couple since we covered a lot of this other stuff. Yeah, go ahead, Jen.
One thing, can I just read over, because I don't know what you guys think, but I'd like to read over the upcoming Update 1 things just very quickly without us having to comment on them, if that's okay with people.
Sure,
so we've got
go ahead.
Craglorn coming out, the first Adventure Zone. Specifically created for groups of veteran ranks 1 and above characters. We got Trials, which are 12-player raid-type instances, which we know about for veteran-ranked characters. We've got a death recap, so you can now see who killed you and what ability they were using. It's pretty cool. This is unavailable information in Dungeons PvP and Craglorn.
Invaluable.
Yeah. Underdog bonuses in Cyrodiil. So you'll get more alliance points while fighting for an alliance. It's a shame we're actually playing on the winning alliance most often.
No longer Vanu. Woo!
Finally! After
Finally,
Vanu.
we picked a side
After
that's
Vanu,
winning.
we picked a winning side. Animation tweaks and polish. Combat ability balances, balance changes and fixes. Class ability tweaks and updates. Don't really know what that is. I'm sorry, guys. It doesn't really tell us. Content bugs, bug fixes, especially edge cases where quests could become desynced. That's useful. And much, much more.
You're going to find I do this, particularly as there's three of us, but I'm going to be critical.
Mm-hmm.
That is all fluff apart from two things on there. We knew all that was going to happen anyway, apart from the death recap.
No, you're right. But I just wanted to read it because...
Yeah, no.
But you're absolutely right. Yeah, we've heard all this stuff.
Them. I quite like... So far, I very much enjoy Elder Scrolls Online. What I haven't enjoyed so far has been the very cookie-cutter approach that ZeniMax has taken to communicating.
You've said this before, haven't you? Yeah, it's
a very... They say, it'll probably say, it's tried and true. Unfortunately, it hasn't proven to be very true. And not that they're lying, but I mean, it hasn't proven to be very effective in past games and things like that. It just tends to breed a little bit of... Especially when you see it all the time in every game. It seems a little bit... it sounds like they're not doing anything when they're trying to sound like they're being proactive.
Yeah.
But the underdog bonuses... Absolutely spot on.
That's awesome.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
We've been worried about this since before launch, that higher population are always going to have this massive advantage in numbers and whatever, and they'll still have that advantage, but at least the lower people will be able to replace their siege engines quickly and get better ones and things like that and get better rewards. So I'm very happy about that.
Yay. Cool.
All right. I'm going to switch around articles here only because I think I had put one ahead of the other, and I think it's more important we touch on an article that is dealing with the escalating struggle against bots. The one I am tagging or linking is from IGN that's talking about the problem with bots right now. For my own experience, I've seen it, of course, a ton, especially early on, but I've seen a dramatic decrease. But I also, through talking to you guys early on before we recorded, it made a lot of sense. Teppo mentioned that maybe a lot of these people who were botting are already past the level that I'm at.
Yeah.
You guys seen this a lot?
Bots, sure.
Oh god, we see them all the time. The thing is, we have kind of seen almost like I would like to say that we've seen a decrease in them once we got to 20th level, but I'm not actually going to hold my breath or get my hopes up because I'm not convinced. I'm just convinced we might have gotten a bit lucky. And because according to the author of this article, I mean, he's in veteran areas and he's seen them, so it doesn't bode well for the higher levels.
Yeah,
we've definitely seen a decrease. It's from my point of view, I think it is a point of view issue. We're in the wrong frame of reference.
Yeah.
There seems to be two different adaptations of the approach to botting in ESO at the moment. One with they're leveling up and they're continuing to do the same things but in higher level zones.
Yep.
And others where they just keep farming over the low level stuff to generate resources or whatever the hell they're doing, farming bosses for that one gold they drop. And things like that. And we've just entered into this space in between the two groups now for the next 10 levels, 10, 15 levels, I think.
Yeah.
85% of the current service tickets?
Yeah.
Not
I'm
surprised.
not surprised. I mean, all the and I've put a lot of tickets. I mean, all of my... yeah, believe me. Teppo knows.
We've had one of our fellow players was trying to report bots as they were teleporting in to hand in a quest, and he could not physically report them as quick as they were teleporting in to do this. It's not the first game to have problems with botting, but it has been the most visible to me. I know, and they mentioned in this article Guild Wars 2. I remember at the time they had a horrendous problem with bots. I don't recall being able to just put my finger at one and say that was definitely a bot while I was playing the game. But obviously it was a big deal, and ESO it's just been very blatant.
Yeah, I mean, so blatant because you find the bots primarily in the local dungeons, the local small dungeons, where they'll be kind of localized around the end boss. So you really notice that. But you also notice them because we've seen them just like running through. I can't remember what it was. It wasn't Wayrest, but one of the villages near there. We just saw them running up and down the road, like three of them following each other and just decimating the whole village.
So here's an ethical question, right? So if bots are each purchased accounts, okay, just hypothetically, let's just throw it out. Now I'm sure they're not always this way, but let's say they are. Is there anything wrong with having multiple accounts if you've paid for them all and subscribing to them all and having bots? Is there anything wrong with that?
If it's against the terms of service, which I believe it is, then don't do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Whether it's ethical or moral or not doesn't matter. You're paying for a service. You're breaching the terms of the service. Breach of contract.
Yeah,
Goodbye.
and that's the thing. And not just to mention that you're also, because I mean, part of the terms of service as well is affecting other people's gameplay.
That's true. That's what it is, isn't it?
That's a major thing because it's affecting other people's gameplay. I mean, I get really pissy when I'm going in.
Oh, I hate it.
Just having to pull things away, and now I'm starting to taunt things away from the bots. It's just it's absurd, and that's just to get one achievement.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. No, I said I should have asked it a different way because what I was trying to get to, and you guys answered it, where it says in the terms of service or what it says to say bots are not allowed. And what it is, I think, is what you said about affecting other people's gameplay.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to use certain automated systems in the game.
Yeah.
So actually, in fact, certain macros, like macro buttons and things are kind of a breach as well. So MMOs have taken a lot looser stance to that kind of thing, but it does depend on the mechanic that you're macroing and how about that goes. What was I going to say? In terms of the bots, I said it before. ESO, ZeniMax, take their money, ban them straight away. Just work on that response detection time kind of thing, so you don't have to rely on us reporting things.
Totally agree. Yeah.
Take their money, ban them, and keep taking their money. By all means, keep taking their money. But don't just work on that rapid detection, and I'll be very, very happy.
Because now they've basically gone as far as having some of the GMs in the dungeons, don't they? Just banning people left, right, center.
I've seen that. Yeah, it's a bit crazy when you go to a solo dungeon. Which is designed for 1 to 2 players. 1 player can usually do it fine.
Yep.
Some of them are a little tricky. It depends on the mob and your build, but. And you'll turn up there, and there's, say, 4, maybe 5 player characters. And I'm calling them normal player characters here, right? To make the distinction between bots. There are often easily 3 to 4 times as many bots camping that boss.
Yeah.
Jeez.
That's the wrong population balance in an area.
Yes.
Have you read about the interesting and fun ways that people have been combating this themselves?
Oh, yes, I have. Aggroing on them, which I think is a brilliant idea.
Well, yeah, just getting a ranged mob or a ranged boss, aggroing them, and then walking over to where all the botters stand and let the AoEs hit you, and also all the botters who are usually in no gear at all, so they just die.
Yeah.
Oh, it's beautiful.
And take them out that way.
That's a good way to do it.
Or use the pull abilities from the Dragon Knight and whatnot.
Well, I've been taunting as well. I've been taunting them away. So I'll taunt the creature away, especially if it's just me and maybe Solo or me, you and Solo, and just move them away from the boss.
It's so much better that way. I've seen bosses actually properly bug out. They'll be standing there, spawned, but unable to be attacked and properly broken because the speed at which they've destroyed them.
Yeah. Or you look around, you look at the ground below you, and there's just piles of boss bodies. You almost start feeling sorry for them, and I start putting flowers in their corpses.
Have you seen what they're allegedly doing now, though, with the using bots to farm areas of their resources?
Yes, actually, I saw this the other day. There seemed to be some type of bug where there's a plant that just kept coming back.
It's not a bug. Not a bug. It's part of the systems. There's 2 things that contribute to this in ESO. One, resources will spawn on almost exactly the same point. They're very close. They have sort of little small area of spawn.
And it's down to the amount of people in the zone, isn't it? As well.
That's exactly it. Yeah. The more people are there, the faster it spawns. So you get a crap ton of bots in there, it's going to keep spawning. And they'll just keep farming it.
Jeez.
It's so bad. Man.
Doesn't take much for people to abuse the system.
Shall we segue?
Segue
to cheaters and why they cheat. Article posted in PC Gamer, actually, and there's an audio interview that Giant Bomb did as well, and I think we'll link both of those. But 3-page article regarding, the title is "It is Hacks: An Investigation into Aimbot Dealers, Wall Hack Users, and the $1 Million Business of Video Game Cheating." Well, this article doesn't at all talk about ESO. I think there are some things that could be related to it.
Yeah.
But fascinating article about this individual, Emmanuel Myberg, if I pronounced that correctly, who did an investigative piece on becoming a cheater, a hacker. And got right into the industry.
Yeah.
And basically learned how to go about doing it, and did it himself, from what I can tell. And tried it out for a few hours. In some cases, got banned. But I don't know. I really found this really interesting.
No, it's a really good article. The one thing it does show is just how massive the culture is for cheating and bots and those types of things. Massive culture built around it.
I don't, okay, so they said 25,000 out of 2.5 million in this one game. So I don't know how about, and it's pretty big, don't get me wrong, Jen, but I think what he said that was more important was, after talking to these housing, these companies that do this type of thing, is, if we weren't doing it, somebody else would.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, it's true.
How just, it's not going away. So, as a company, what do you do? I mean, what do you're trying to stop this kind of stuff. Is there really anything that's ever going to be able to be done to stop it?
No.
Yeah.
Nope. Is it strictly speaking illegal? It's certainly against terms of service in a lot of places,
right.
But are you breaching the terms of service, or is the person deploying the hack, the person paying for it, are they breaching the terms of service? Are you, unless you're doing something really nasty with the games company servers, are you actually breaking the law?
The thing is, I mean, well, you as well as I know, guys, how difficult computer law is anyway, especially since it ranges through different countries.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of law enforcement agencies don't care.
You're absolutely right. But I think I've heard some places, especially I think in the UK, that I think the responsibility actually falls, in certain cases, falls to the person who's bought the product, not the people producing the product. So, whether that pertains to this, I'm not 100% sure. But
yeah, software law in general is a freaking mess, and it's just wrong in so many places that I don't even know where to begin with the whole
quagmire.
Quagmire. Yeah, it's pretty rough. The whole cheating thing. It's a really fascinating article, and the fact that cheating is such a big business that they need DRM is fascinating insight into the whole process. But you can certainly see how some of this would relate to problems in ESO at the moment, and why ZeniMax have such a hard time getting to grips with it. I mean, they talk about in the article they talk about. I think the reporter simply just said. Why doesn't Steam? Because I think they're talking about Counter-Strike. Why doesn't Steam just ban your server's IP? And the fella running these servers that inject the code are just saying, "Well, I'll just check. What if I cycle my IP every day, every hour? I use DNS, it doesn't. You can't knock it off at the source."
This is the thing. I mean, it's a ridiculous thing to say because, after all, I mean, I know. We have Sky Broadband, and mostly every couple of days, our IP address changes. You know what I mean? So, and that's without us actually doing anything. So yeah, it's so difficult for them to do that. So difficult.
Yeah.
But this is a really good article. Whoever brought this in, it's very good.
Does it? Okay? I don't take a little more dramatically. Can it ruin? Can it ruin games? Yes, right.
Well, so a game's value is in the eyes of the customer. It's all perceived value. So yeah, sure. If your customers are paying for a game or just playing it, doesn't even matter if they're putting down money for, like, say, in PlanetSide 2, and their perception is it's full of cheaters and they're not having fun, yes, that will ruin the game.
And this is the thing. I mean, truthfully, you only need like one or two cheaters. I mean, you only need to come in a bad day where you might have one cheater or two cheaters, and you might not get it all the time, but that person, sees that as something that happens all the time. And yeah, of course, it's going to be really disheartening for people playing the game.
Can it ultimately not squelch? Can it ultimately change the overall development of multiplayer games? Meaning that development companies are going to say, you know what, I don't want to deal with this crap. I'm just going to make strategy game A or single player game B. I'm not going to have the headache.
I think it has to. If they want to get anywhere, it has to inform design in the future. You have to design systems which are hard to game in this manner. I mean, that's the problem with the ESO's in. It's the systems which are fun if you use them as they're intended.
Yep.
Yeah, with the bosses falling and they put in the population resource thing because they recognize they don't want people running around in a resourceless zone.
Right.
Because of the spawn times on things popping. So they put, more people there. But unfortunately, it's been taken advantage of. So we need to find some ways to deal with that. I have no idea how. The worst thing, I think, is probably false positives. People knowing that there's cheaters and maybe having encountered one or two just happen to have a bad day or be up against someone who's having a good day.
Yes.
And go, cheaters. I've had that myself. Not just thinking that must have been a cheater, but getting tells in PlanetSide 2 and stuff. Nice aimbot, dude. It just so happened I was absolutely
spot on
dinging
that
it that day.
Yeah.
I was just kicking ass that day. It doesn't happen very often, but some days I'm just that good. As I'm sure you all are. So it's like that Pandora's box. Once you know it's possible, you will start seeing it places.
Yeah, I mean, for instance, if with this whole thing with ESO, going back to ESO, it's just like I kind of get slightly anxious when I go into a dungeon now because I go, oh God, am I going to get to the end boss and I'm not going to be able to get to it because I've got loads of bots there that are killing him, and that's that I don't want my gameplay to be stressful. And it's actually affecting my mood when I go into those dungeons because I enjoy them. One of the things I like about the game is finding these little dungeons and going into them. But yeah, you get to the end and you go, oh God, what's going to be there? What's going to be there? What's going to be there? Yeah.
Yep. So,
and if that happens all the time, that's really going to affect my gameplay. And I'm going to go, you know what?
Sure.
Screw this. I'm not going to play this anymore. I'm just sick of it.
So how do you pay or how do you get? I mean, how many people beta tested this game? How do you get beta testers to actually expose this stuff? Or did they? And ZeniMax didn't have time to react. But you would think with all these systems that were in place months ahead of time, that man, if it was me, I'd be getting a hold of one of these companies and saying, "Look, here's a couple $1 million. Get in here and expose the issues that we have."
Yeah, one of the only ways I think you could probably do it is if you were to get the manpower. Right, especially in something like ESO, get the manpower and have people their job is just to play a character, to go through all the zones, and just ban people, and then have someone on the other side find those accounts and do all those things. But it takes just so much manpower and so much money to be able to do that.
And specifically talking about testing, well, that's kind of what you need.
Yeah.
You need to freaking invest in solid big QA sections rather than just farm out to people willing to pay to play the game early, which is kind of what they're doing. The other thing is you don't see bots in beta because they're spending all that time trying to find vulnerabilities and ways they can game the system and then deploying them at launch because they don't want the people developing the game to patch those things quickly.
Yep. Wow. Okay. Wow. I'm glad that's not my job to try to figure out this
I'm glad it's not my job to worry about that.
Right.
Jesus.
Wow. Man.
I wouldn't sleep very much.
No.
But I think I think this is the key though. The key is to really try to iron these things out and test. That is the key. But Places aren't that interested in making sure that they do everything perfectly in test phase.
Yeah.
And just as a join to that, absolutely try and work it out and test. But as we're seeing more and more often in other systems, not just games, and not just when Sony completely crapped out and gave 13 million people's details to the internet. Software is evolving. Coders aren't perfect. The software, the systems being developed aren't perfect. There are always going to be vulnerabilities, and it takes a very proactive and also a very fast response time once something has been found to keep that kind of thing under wraps. And it's really expensive.
Yep. Game this size, well, yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, MMOs, they're one of the most complicated things you can make in terms of, computer games.
Yeah.
If not the most complicated computer game you can make.
Yeah. I
would really hire one of these companies that does this. I don't care what it would cost, because I think in terms of the money they're losing because of this, it pales in comparison. I would think one of these. Yeah. Anyway, I'm glad I'm not in the business. I'll stop it at that. All right, I think that's it for news. We'll maybe push some of the other stuff we're going to talk about till next week. But before we go any further, do you guys have anything that I missed that you want to add?
No, I think it was really good. Got everything
Awesome.
in.
I don't think so.
All right.
Good.
Good deal. Okay, next on tab here tonight, we were going to, I think, mention a few of the listener feedback, maybe, if we have any, and also call up maybe any of the individuals who have joined our guild, ESO Reporter on the Aldemary Dominion EU Mega Server. I don't remember all their names, unfortunately, but Tredge, I think, is one. Jen, do you have any of the feedback from the social sites
we
at
didn't
all?
actually. We didn't really get anything.
Well, super.
This
I think we had.
thing.
We had, is it Terran, or something like that? Someone like that joined the guild as well as Treasure.
Treasure joined.
I didn't write it down. I logged in quickly just before we started to see who it was, and then didn't write it down.
Yeah.
I'm a bad person.
He's a horrible person. No, we'll do it. We'll write down the names.
There's a piratey person, I think, that joined our guild. Pirate something or other. So I'm sorry if I don't remember. I know it starts with pirate.
Soundguard join us as well, who's someone I've sort of spoken to on Twitter over the past couple of years, brief, here and there. Yeah. I think initially to do with DDApp. They've joined our guild as well, and then of course some of our close friends and I was going to say companions, but I meant that in the Skyrim sense. Warriors.
We're also probably going to do some lore stuff at some point, and I apologize we haven't jumped into that yet, but we don't want to just redo what other podcasts are doing or YouTube videos are doing. So we're trying to come up with something innovative. And so, onions.
Sorry, that's just what it sounded like. What Jen said just now. It's like onions.
Onions.
But I don't think I have much of anything else. How about you guys?
About the law thing. At some point, it takes time to put the law together, a law piece together, and work out what we're doing and research it and whatever. Mm-hmm. So it's just we all three of us have really hectic other lives away from gaming, work and family and all this kind of stuff. So it's a good idea, and I definitely want to run with it at some point. But dear, can someone invent an extra couple of hours in the day, please? An extra 4. That's all I need.
So what I would say feedback as to what you want us to talk
about. Oh no, Jen's breaking up.
Can you not hear?
Yep. Nope.
Jen's breaking up terribly.
Uh-oh.
For me?
Oh, I think we should probably wind up the show.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well,
that would
now
make
we get
sense.
technical difficulties.
All right. Well, quick word of update, or not update, but informative word here on our contact information. Let me just read off the sites. Our email is eso@mmoreporter.com. Our Twitter is @ESOReporter. Also individually, I'm @SvenIM with 2 V's. Gadget Jen is @Janara. And the chap of Synapse is @Tepotastic. Our Facebook is facebook.com/ESO reporter. And who wants to take the voicemail?
I'll do it.
All right.
Voicemail. No, I'll do it only because you're breaking out, and I need to do the goblin voice. Voicemail is 616-666-6778, or use the widget on the right-hand side of MMOreporter.com. Do leave us a message. We had Steve from the Midlands before. We will play you on the show. Or not. If you tell us you don't want to be played on the show, we won't play you on the show, but our default is going to be yes. So we'd love to hear from you.
Agreed.
Indeed.
Thanks, Tip. Well, everyone have a good week of game time, and we'll hopefully catch you next week as long as real life cooperates, and we'd even enjoy seeing you in game. You know where we're at. Go ahead and join us and say hi. Have a great weekend.
Ciao.
Or week, whatever you hit this podcast.
Have a great time.
That's right.
Great time.
Enjoy your 5 free days that you already used.
Yeah, exactly. Enjoy those days.
Good night, everyone.
Good night. This podcast is also sponsored by Audible. And if you go to audibletrial.com/MMOreporter, you'll get a 1-month free trial, which includes all the usual member benefits, including 1 free audiobook download per month and a 30% discount on additional purchases, as well as free digital subscription to New York Times or the Wall Street Journal. You can keep anything that you download during the free month forever. So what's stopping you, really? Sign up at audibletrial.com/MMOreporter.